Most people spend years chasing something they were never meant to find. The advice sounds beautiful. Follow your passion. Do what you love. The money will follow. It has been repeated so many times, it feels like common sense. But what if the data tells a completely different story? For decades, the most celebrated commencement speeches and the most shared career advice have all pointed in the same direction. Find your passion. Turn it into a career. You will never work a day in your life. The logic is seductive. Hard work feels easier when it is attached to something meaningful. And meaning is something most people genuinely want from their work. Nobody dreams of spending 40 years doing something they despise. The desire to merge passion with profession is not naive. It is human. It is what every well-meaning parent hopes for their child. But beneath that beautiful idea sits a problem most people never see coming. How many people actually followed the advice and ended up where they expected? The passion-first approach does not just fail some people. According to labor force data collected across multiple developed economies, it systematically transfers wealth away from the people who follow it most faithfully. And here is the part nobody mentions. The people who gave the advice rarely followed it themselves. Consider the financial arithmetic. Across the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and the United States, graduates in visual and performing arts consistently rank among the lowest earning degree holders, median incomes between $30,000 and $40,000 a year. Average student debt at roughly the same level as graduates in far more lucrative fields. Same debt. Half the income. A lifetime of compound disadvantage. Think about what that gap does over 30 years. A difference of $30,000 in annual income, compounded by investment growth, career advancement, and employer retirement contributions, becomes a gap measured in the millions. Not thousands, millions. The passion seeker does not just earn less this year, they earn less every year, and the gap grows wider. Meanwhile, trade school graduates enter the workforce with roughly one-third the debt, median earnings that start around $60,000 and climb past six figures with experience. Electricians, plumbers, welders. These are jobs nobody describes as their childhood passion. Nobody draws pictures of themselves fixing pipes in elementary school. But the numbers do not care about passion. The numbers care about supply and demand. The numbers reward scarcity, and the numbers punish oversupply. STEM graduates walk into starting salaries that exceed what many arts graduates will earn at their career peak. Not because STEM work is inherently more valuable to society. A great teacher changes more lives than a great software engineer ever will. A brilliant musician moves people in ways no spreadsheet ever could. But the market does not pay based on social value. It pays based on supply and demand. A truth that takes many people an entire career to learn. And by then, it is often too late. So why does this advice survive? Why does it persist despite the financial wreckage? Part of the answer sits with who gave it. The most famous version came from a 2005 commencement speech at Stanford University. The speaker told graduates to follow their hearts. Trust their intuition. Never settle. The message went viral. Framed on desks, tattooed on wrists, repeated by parents who wanted better for their children. But the speaker himself did not follow his passion. He dropped out of college, wandered into a calligraphy class, tinkered with circuit boards in a garage. He followed curiosity and opportunity, not some lifelong passion for consumer electronics. The passion came later. After the mastery, after the success, after the wealth. The story was rewritten in reverse. And almost nobody noticed. This pattern repeats across every industry. A professor at New York University's Stern School of Business who built and sold a company for over $130 million has pointed out the obvious contradiction. The person telling others to follow their passion typically became wealthy doing something nobody dreams about as a child. Enterprise software, supply chain logistics, healthcare administration. That was never anyone's passion. It was an opportunity pursued with discipline. A billionaire investor worth over $4 billion has called the passion advice one of the great lies of life. His real passions were sports, a 70-mile-per-hour fastball, a 7-inch vertical leap. He was never going pro. His billions came from technology, a field he wandered into because his passions were not going to pay the bills. Does that sound like someone who followed his passion? A television host who spent years filming workers in jobs most people would avoid made the same observation. sewer inspectors, roadkill collectors, pig farmers. He met countless people making six figures with zero debt, coaching their children's sports teams, taking vacations, owning homes. These workers did not follow passion. They followed opportunity. And somewhere along the way, many found satisfaction they never expected to find. What does the actual research say about all of this? A study published in the journal Psychological Science by researchers at Stanford University uncovered something troubling about the very language of passion. Paul O'Keefe, Carol Dweck, and Gregory Walton found that telling people to find their passion creates a fixed mindset. The word find does the damage. It suggests that passions arrive fully formed, waiting somewhere to be discovered, like buried treasure, like a soulmate. When a fixed mindset person encounters difficulty, and every field involves difficulty, the natural conclusion follows. This must not be my passion. And they quit. They move on. They search for the next thing. The cycle repeats. Years pass. Debt accumulates. Skills never compound. The Stanford researchers demonstrated this experimentally. People primed with a find your passion mindset were significantly more likely to abandon a subject at the first sign of challenge. The message that was supposed to unlock fulfillment was actually unlocking quitting. The alternative produced the opposite result. People who believed interests are built rather than found persisted through difficulty. They got better. They developed competence. And competence, over time, became something that looked a lot like passion. The researchers called this a develop your passion mindset. It does not sound as inspiring as the original, but it has one advantage. It is true. And then there is the passion economy, the latest evolution of the myth. Millions of people have been told that turning their hobby into content creation is the path to freedom. The math paints a different picture. Across major platforms, the overwhelming majority of creators never reach monetization. The platforms profit from the content regardless. They need creators to keep creating. What better motivation than the promise of doing what you love? Every hour spent chasing platform fame is an hour not spent building rare and valuable skills. Every year spent hoping the algorithm notices is a year of career capital that never accumulates. The platforms win. The passion advice keeps creators coming back, and most of them leave with nothing but burnout. So where does this leave someone who genuinely wants both meaning and financial stability? Is it possible to have both? The answer is not to abandon passion. It is to reorder the sequence. Passion comes second. Competence comes first. Georgetown University professor Cal Newport introduced a framework that reverses the passion-first model. Instead of following passion, build career capital. Career capital is made of rare and valuable skills. Skills that someone will pay for. Skills that give leverage. Skills that compound. When someone builds enough career capital, something predictable happens. They gain autonomy. They gain respect. They gain options. Authority over how they spend their time. And those things are far more reliable sources of satisfaction than chasing a feeling. Passion in this framework is a lagging indicator. It arrives after mastery. It follows competence. It is the reward for getting good at something, not the prerequisite for starting. Consumer finance research across multiple countries confirms the same pattern. The people who build wealth and report high career satisfaction are rarely the ones who started with a burning passion. They are the ones who identified where their effort would be rewarded. They committed to getting better than most people at something valuable, and the passion followed. So what does this actually mean for someone making career decisions today? It means following opportunity, not passion. Taking passion along for the ride instead of letting it steer. Looking at where time is actually being invested, not where someone dreams of investing it, and getting world-class in that direction. It means treating the early years of a career as a skill acquisition phase, treating every job as a place to collect rare and valuable abilities that nobody can take away, watching over time as those abilities open doors that passion alone never could. It means ignoring the question everyone asks, what are you passionate about? And asking a more useful question instead. What are you willing to be bad at long enough to get good? Because the people who get good end up passionate. The people who chase passion rarely get good, and the math does not forgive. The truth is not as romantic as a commencement speech. It will never be printed on a poster, but it sets people free in a way that pretty advice never will. For anyone who found this useful, passing it on is one of the simplest ways to give someone else a head start that most people never receive. Content like this exists because people choose to support it. A like or a subscription is what keeps these ideas reaching the people who need them most. Most people spend years chasing something they were never meant to find. But the people who stop chasing and start building discover something the searchers never do. Passion was never the starting line. It was always the finish line.